13.8 billion years ago, all the matter in the universe was spewed out of an infinite singularity in an event known as the Big Bang. Around 9 billion years later, pieces of that matter were brought together by gravity to form our solar system. The third planet in this system, what we call Earth, harbored all the materials for life to flourish. It had liquid water, it had oxygen, and it was such a perfect distance from the sun that it wasn't too hot nor too cold. Somewhere along the line, life arose in the form of tiny, single-celled organisms, and for a couple billion years, this is all there was. But over time, many of these microscopic life forms became increasingly complex in order to fit nature's demands. Eventually, life made its way out of the ocean and onto land. Plants, fungi, and eventually animals evolved, and Earth went from this barren planet to one that was teeming with life in all corners. And throughout this process, shit happened and humans came into existence. We started off as very primitive and tribal creatures, one that mostly lived life through hunting and gathering. Our numbers were small, and we constantly had to worry about predators, because physiologically, we are very weak compared to the animals that were at the top of the food chain. In order to compensate for this weakness, we learned how to outthink our competition. Eventually, we got so smart that we became self-aware. We became aware that we are aware that we exist, and that we are this body and this mind. Soon enough, we learned how to farm, which made life extremely easier. We no longer had to be nomadic hunters and gatherers. We could now settle in one spot and build larger communities. With this, civilization as we know it was born, and this is when our numbers skyrocketed. In just about 5,000 years, which only accounts for 0.00001% of Earth's history, our population went from a couple tens of millions to nearly 8 billion. We went from this to this. I don't think any species in all of history has undergone such a rapid transformation in terms of lifestyle so quickly, and with this progression came so much more knowledge about the divine and our place in the universe. Previously, our beliefs were very magical because we didn't know much. Ancient tribes might have thought something like, if a volcano erupted, then that means that the spirits were punishing them for something, and then they would create rituals and customs to try and satisfy those spirits. And while even today reality and existence is still absolutely magnificent, fantastical, and still very much mysterious, we know a lot more about how things work, about causes and effects, and we know a volcano is a natural process of the earth and not spirits damning us. So why did I tell you all of this? Why did I remind you of your creation story, or at least the most accurate story that we have? Well, I wanted to make you realize how amazing it is that you even exist at all, and especially how amazing it is to exist at this specific time. You are a manifestation of this magnificent, creative, intelligent process that is the universe. The universe has been in the process of engineering you for billions of years, and now here you are, in the flesh. But what's important to remember is that although your individual self is a manifestation of the universe, you are not separate from it. You are it. Too many people don't realize this. That force, that same creative potential that spewed everything into the universe through the Big Bang, that eventually led to the birth of our sun and our Earth, that assembled life, is now living through you. You are it. And with this life, you get to decide what you're going to do as that. What role are you going to play in the growth and evolution of this intelligent, unfolding process that is the universe? But knowing all of this doesn't change the fact that you're here in the now, with all your petty human problems. You have to make money. You might be angry that your stocks are going down. That is actually me right now. You might want to find a spouse and have children. You might be working your ass off and studying in order to get good grades. Maybe you feel like you're stuck in a dead-end job and wish you were doing something else. There may be things that you regret from the past and wish you did differently, and that makes you depressed. You might feel insecure and incapable. You might be addicted to something, And when we have all these problems that we have to deal with, it can become impossible to zoom out and forget that in the long run, none of it even matters. And while some people might take the nihilistic approach and think, oh well, it doesn't matter, I might as well do whatever I want in this life, just play video games and eat pizza. But personally, I think realizing that none of our small, petty, egoic problems matter in the long run is the beginning to having true freedom. Not this freedom that society and politics tells you about, but freedom from your mind, from your ego's automatic triggers and impulses. Once you directly experience a reality beyond this, life becomes a whole different ballgame. It's an entirely different paradigm. Another amazing thing that science has led us towards is that in addition to the zooming out we are able to do, such as realizing we are a part of Earth, and then Earth is a part of the solar system, and then the solar system is a part of the Milky Way galaxy, and then that is even a part of a network of galaxies that make up the universe, we can also zoom in. The fundamental building blocks of matter are atoms, and even within atoms there are parts such as protons, neutrons, and electrons. And then even within that, there are smaller parts such as quarks. But an atom can be a part of a molecule, but then those molecules can be made into a more complex unit, such as a cell. And then all of those cells can combine together to create you. What you are is just trillions of cells working together. But I actually like to view myself, the entirety of myself, as a cell, because we are a part of a much greater whole. We are a part of the collective of humanity. Because even though I'm only conscious of being this human, the network doesn't stop there. We are a part of the human species, and that is a part of a million other species that make up the Earth. And then the Earth makes up the solar system, and we can keep zooming out of that for infinity. So what I'm saying is, be a good cell for the collective in this life. Do what is good for the growth and development of the whole, because that's exactly what the cells in your body do to keep you alive. A cancerous cell is a cell that says, fuck the whole, I'm going to do my own thing. And your body has all sorts of defense mechanisms to ward off these cancerous cells from replicating, but every now and then the cancer is too strong for the defense mechanisms, too many cells become cancerous, and then you die. The same thing can happen for humanity. So don't be a cancerous cell for humanity. And all you have to do to not be a cancerous cell is to not be too selfish. It's that simple. Cancerous traits within humans can take the form of toxic political ideologies, a messed up worldview, racism, sexism, classism, being a narcissist, being lost in ego, all that sorts of stuff. I could literally list hundreds of things if I wanted to. And if you see these cancerous things in the world, you should take on the role for humanity that your immune system does for your body and try to get rid of that cancer. But also living life in alignment with the well-being of the collective doesn't mean that you give up your own individuality. Every human, every cell has their own needs that need to be met, or else they can't function optimally. If we aren't functioning optimally, both physically and mentally, then the likelihood we become a cancerous cell is higher. So take your well-being very seriously. Take care of yourself, eat well, exercise, check up on your mental health, be aware of your biases, and always keep learning, all that stuff. And in addition to taking care of yourself, every individual is also born with different traits, interests, and talents that are all unique to us, and we are meant to express these because we are creative beings. Music, literature, movies, technology, architecture, clothing, sports, and much more are all manifestations of this creative potential that we hold within us. So don't let your creative potential go to waste. So the meaning of this life is to be a vessel of creation for the universe in the form of a human being. It took the universe 13.8 billion years to give birth to you, and now here you are, and you're only going to be here for roughly 80 years, and then the cell that is your body will die, and it will be gone forever. Now maybe you will reincarnate into another body, I don't know, but one thing is certain, and that is the flesh that you're in right now, the specific life that you're living, is only going to happen once. So what are you going to do with this life? Whatever you do, I urge you to do so consciously. Think about the impact that you have on the whole, but also don't deteriorate yourself in the process. You gotta find that balance, just like nature has found that balance. Everything in nature has its purpose and place. if you go out and learn about nature and get into nature, you'll experience that divine balance for yourself. Everything works together so perfectly. So with this life, you also have to learn to replicate that balance with nature on your own. And humanity as a whole needs to learn to do that ASAP, because if we don't shape up, well, it ain't looking good for us. So that is the meaning of life, or my opinion of it at least. We are living in an extremely unique time where shit is heating up. We are advancing on all levels so fast. Our population is higher than ever. Our technology is more advanced than ever. We are more interconnected than ever. If a bomb goes off on the other side of the world, we'll know within like 10 minutes. But evolution has not caught up with us in order to accommodate this change. Because all of this has happened so fast, we still carry within us that very primitive, tribal, egoic mind that separates and divides. And that has proved to be very cancerous for the collective in many ways when it gets out of hand. So I think the next big step for us as a species is to begin to transcend that. That's about all I wanted to say for this video. Follow me on Instagram at thecuriousminds434. Also check me out on Patreon if you would like to support. And that's it, guys. Have a great day and peace.